Hi guys, welcome to the new video. So today we'll take a look at another 1v1 game in Armies of Exigo, and this time it will be a matchup on Terraform between Suvak and Soulskeeper actually. So we got a small change in the players that we usually see here, but yeah, we are watching from Suvak's perspective, who spawned in the bottom right corner with the Race of Fallen and the blue color, and then we have Soulskeeper in the top left corner with Beast and the yellow color. So basically the same game we just saw in the previous video, I think, that I showed you, where I played the same matchup on the same map, same positions for races with Makrozerk, where I was Fallen and he was Beast. So this time we have Suvak on my position and Soulskeeper on Makrozerk's position. And looks like they are both going for like immediate base here, with some production building and everything. Building just a closed base, not really going for the usual front base in front of the expansion position so you can expand quickly. That's just the most usual and probably optimal way of playing this map and other similar maps like Eclipse or Inner Sanctum, for example. But looks like they really want to get some early units. Maybe they were expecting immediate expansions from each other and wanted to get some units early on to potentially push it. Which wouldn't really work for the Beast anyways, so... Okay, this is interesting. That blue color, that was actually probably the rally point. So yeah, basically it wouldn't really help anyways the Beasts. Beasts usually cannot push immediate expansion of Fallen unless it's like a really small map and you rush with half of your villagers and Borons and everything. Then you can sometimes stop it, but if there is a deformer into hive before that, then usually not even then. But definitely the Stingers would be really powerful if Soulskeeper would just place an expansion here as Makrozerk did last game. Or even with stables into Arena, into Stronghold. You would really need early Totem to defend this. But since Soulskeeper is also playing really defensively like this, just made one warrior immediately going for Goblin Hut. No expansion from either of the players yet. This will be actually nice balance, so we will see how it goes. We already see an incubator from Suvak. Maybe he could have even started it a little bit earlier, but this is fine. Also already starting to get some gems. Also important when you start the incubator. And yeah, now he sees that the side of the opponent seems similar to the side of Suvak. And actually he can see two arenas here, so looks like Soulskeeper really wants to go all into the units. Just get as many of them out as possible, probably as many goblins. Doesn't seem like he wants to get any upgrades there from Weapon Master or unlock the Superior Boomerang or get Witches. Yeah, it seems like it's just complete goblin spam. Not even utilizing Borons, so maybe even just Goblin Hunters, not even Raiders. But we'll see, it can of course still change. This is not a bad idea, but of course if the Fallen plays really defensively and makes some towers, this probably won't work. But actually now he's bringing one Boron to the war, so maybe he forgot about these two, or not sure what's the strategy behind this. But he has literally zero distresses. Suvak has already spitters. Staying on 2 hives, which is usually the preferred amount when you go for spitters from one base. Also getting improved metabolism. I usually get the spitters even earlier and not making as many stingers, but this is also totally fine. At least we have some extra power there. As you can see, he is using that to create some early pressure. And then he can utilize the spitters at home. Yeah, as you can see, he's building some downtime on the Soulskeeper's gathering. So this is really good. Even though all the stingers will probably fall there. But he also forced him to retreat, and now he can easily expand. So it looks like Suvak was actually trying to use Harvester to fight as well. It's not bad. It has decent HP, 190. And also okay damage. But the main thing is that you can basically bring the attention of the enemy to some different spot, especially when it's also melee unit, so then your spitters are much safer. But you can also just use one spitter in a separate group and bring him on a side or to the close range and tank it with that. It's just important to split the damage of the goblins when they have AoE damage. But it looks like Suvak is going to go for the expansion. So Soulskeeper also has the resources for that, but not really. Actually now going for it, okay. He was accumulating quite a lot of units, so I was expecting some push, but he's actually pulling back even though he can easily kill these spitters. No reason for him to retreat, but at the same time Suvak can easily heal, so he just needs to micro this as well. Trade his HP for the HP of the beast, or even some kills if he can focus fire the goblin hunters. And then he just needs to retreat and regenerate. While the beast of course has it much harder to regenerate. He either needs to sacrifice Borons or any other units with witches, which also costs mana and time and everything. Or he needs to buy the regeneration in the main building. Harvester here, getting kinda low as well. Stronghold. So finally a witch for Soulskeeper, getting another Boron and Goblin. Expansion is being built, 1500 HP. Actually gonna finish before Suvak's expansion, because the build time here is 20 seconds faster for Beast. Which is a huge advantage of course. Not really any upgrades for Suvak yet. He's also not really fully standing here on the unholy regeneration ground. Two of the spitters are out now, we actually push them out even more. So that's not ideal. But he's also still trying to create some pressure here. Maybe he will get one kill. Okay, he got a different kill, but still a kill. He could still just run with one of his units here and kill this one, but okay. Soul Trap. Of course, one Lightning Spire. But he doesn't have any macro advantage now. He's just a little bit better in saturating his expansion, because actually Soulskeeper is now also bringing some minions. So that will be also balanced. But Suvak probably produced some more harvesters before even finishing the expansion, so I think it's a little bit better saturation. So maybe slightly better income. At the same time he doesn't have second villager here in the gems mine, so smaller gems income, also only one guy on wood. So yeah, I think resources are kinda balanced. At least Suvak is 10 population ahead. Actually 2 lightning spars, okay, I saw only one before. Once again, not on the unholy ground, he needs to really focus on this, wasting some potential here for the healing of this hive spitter. Getting Hollow Whispers and also Vengeance Hall, interesting. I think he wants to get some early nightmares there and probably combine them with Voidwalkers for some freezes early on. Or maybe just prepare for enemy Poison Fox with some early dispels. As you can see, Soulskeeper is already setting up his Lizard Keep. Also his Revive Altar, getting the superior Boomerang, and also Harpy Nest. We also see Vile Cocoon, one more Hive and one more Vengeance Hall. There'll be 3 Hives in total and 2 Vengeance Halls. He doesn't have any population now, but he will have soon. But he doesn't have any resources for units. Getting new Summoner. Producing more Spitters. And getting the freeze immediately, okay. Of course now he needs to get the Voidwalkers there. All units in Vengeance Hall cost lots of gems, so the question is where he wants to get enough gems for all of that. Just from 2 bases, but we'll see. He's also playing kinda passively now, I would expect more scouting from him. This reminds me the game I showed you last time, where I also stayed lot of passive. I did lots of passive gameplay as Fallen and didn't really pay off. But he's preparing a timing push probably with these Voidwalkers. So I think that's the strategy behind this. Now trying to queue up the nightmares there. Vile Cocoon is ready. Getting more and more Voidwalkers. Yeah, they are both preparing a timing push from 2 bases. So it will actually work out for them, but if any of them would make an expansion, it could have been already finished with towers and it would be dangerous. But yeah, Soulskeeper, 90 population, timing attack with basically full Goblin Hunters and Goblin Riders with like 3 Witches, 2 Warriors and 1 Warlock. There is one FK minion, another Arena. And yeah, Suvak also goes for a timing push with full Spitters, 3 Voidwalkers and 2 Stingers there as well. Plus 2 more around the map as scouts. Now he's getting the Nightmares. I would probably wait for those. Those are really important to get the Frost Shields there. Sorrow Shrine as well. Soulskeeper finally going for an expansion. But yeah, so I scouted this army. Definitely tough spot to fight in. But we will see. The Fiddies could do a lot. So he found the expansion here. So a nice freeze, unfortunately half of his spitters, or not half but 3 are in the back. Kinda wasted Poison Fog. Nice freeze definitely. He's trying to pick off the Goblin Hunters maybe, or it was just lucky, but that's definitely something he should be trying to focus. He could also now one-shot this Warlock as he's running away. Actually no, this is his Warlock. He copied him with the Voidwalker. I was like, what? Why is he blue? But okay, never mind, he has a Warlock. Not sure if he will use him. He actually cancelled that. That was the shapeshift ability. But yeah, he's definitely ahead now in population by like 30. He should be able to cast like 2 freezes. This was one of them. Actually used Windwalk, okay. I would like to see more shields there probably, but it's also fine. Expansion finished, but not saturated at all, and also nothing to really protect it. Poison Fog, not ideal. I don't think Suvak has anti-magic. Who cleanse himself. Suvak finally also making the third base. That was a really bad freeze. At the same time, Soulskeeper is not really using half of his army, so it wasn't that bad. Also new Nightmares, just needs to turn on the shields, which he didn't, and also he still doesn't have the anti-magic. Is he getting it? No. He has lots of gems, overall lots of resources, so he could easily get that. Upgrades are 1, 0 and 0, 0. And 0, 0 for Soulskeeper as well, but he got the superior boomerang upgrade at least. Setting up some more totems here, definitely really powerful against Fallen, because without Avengers it's really hard for them to deal with towers. And Avengers are extremely expensive and hard to get to, with so few bases. But this base is absolutely unprotected, so I could have easily continued harassing here with his spitters. Kill more minions, stop the income here for some time and catch up on macro here. Now this is not saturated at all and he's falling slightly behind, I'm afraid. He also started producing some matriarchs now. Getting even the curse tree, okay. On this map it's playable, I think. I think it's still better, for example, on like Darkside Forest or something, because here you still have big areas where there are no trees, where the fight can easily happen. But on many places there are some trees, so I think it's okay. Even though of course then you can't use the mana on the matriarchs for other abilities like necromancy or even mana repletion. Or eclipse, but that's something else. So there's some gems here as well. 4th base. Battlekeeper also preparing one, even though it's immediately scouted by a seeker from Suvak. More warlocks joining, finally a first troll as well, and also lots of warriors trying to create some front line there to probably deal with the stingers that will have the frost shields there. No towers here yet, but Soulskeeper doesn't really have any scouts anywhere. He hit the Seeker, but I still don't think he knows about him, it was just the tower. Subak has scouts all over the map, so he should easily know everything was happening. Interesting seeker position there. Does he even have weapon mastery down here, but still no upgrades, I think. A huge mistake from Soulskeeper. I think we are already past the time when Macrozer killed me in the previous game and he had full upgrades when he did that, so this is a huge mistake. But Subak is also not getting any upgrades. Yeah, so they are both kinda neglecting that. There is one Stalker. Probably doesn't have Defile yet, but also doesn't have Rally Point. And now he goes for his favorite split push strategy. Attacking from two different sides, at least. Well, of course, Soulskeeper is here with his whole army on one place, and I think this will be a really nice showcase of this strategy and why it's so powerful. So he sends some spitters here, alerts the enemy army. They won't do anything, but he showed them. Now actually he killed a goblin here. That's not ideal because now Soulskeeper could know about him, but since there is this army, he will probably try to defend it. Even though, to be honest, I think these totems, if all the minions would start fighting, they would actually defend this on their own. And this whole army could have been already walking here. Now he totally is out of position, Soulskeeper, and Subak can freely destroy this whole base, setting basically Soulskeeper way behind. He will be on 3 bases against Subak's 4. So he will just burst down the stronghold, using the cursed trees now. They are not bad at all, they also have small AoE damage, so actually against the goblin hunters when they are stuck, it's actually pretty decent. Or maybe even the warlocks. So we see some freezes there. I don't think he has mana depletion, but he needs to scout somehow the warlocks first anyways. To mana deplete them, or they need to be moving. Nice poison fog, I would expect anti-magic. Actually a freeze, okay. Yeah, he has the Seeker here, nice. Some small fights here again. This base is of course safe. This one will be rebuilt immediately, but that will still take some time. Subak could easily once again expand behind this push. At least here or even here as well, actually one summoner is already prepared here. He has the resources for that, lots of wood in stock, and basically full population anyways. How is the upgrades looking? Still nothing? That's really surprising because he really is on full population and still not getting any upgrades. And Subak usually makes lots of upgrades from what I remember. Just for some reason forgot to do it in this game. But since Soulskeeper also is not getting any upgrades, got 1 damage upgrade now, but he's not getting any more. It's actually kinda balanced. Lots of warriors actually. Interesting, of course they will totally slaughter this. But it's lots of population there, so in a main fight, Soulskeeper might have a problem. Even though this is still also a strong army, but he doesn't have any warlocks anymore. It's a Seeker rally point. Once this totem finishes, they will suffer. And yeah, once again, Subak goes for some split pushing. Question is if we can kill the towers here with this. Spitters are already level 3. Nightmares level 2. Goblins in the front, definitely. Subak could have gotten even more kills there, but there is already a huge army behind that. And yeah, Soulskeeper finally splits his army as well pretty efficiently, and he's able to hold both sides. Soulskeeper going for a 5th base, which Subak also already has. Will finish a little bit sooner for him, but still basically the same. They both are on full population. Soulskeeper has 5 times more gems in stock. Subak has a little bit more gold and way more wood, but yeah, we can already see a problem here for Soulskeeper. He has only 300 wood, which you can't really afford as beast, because if your barons die, you will die. because he won't have enough wood to reproduce them, so he needs to definitely start pre-gathering some wood, especially when he's already on full population. Nice freeze there by Subak. Soulskeeper doesn't have the warlocks there to dispel it. Warriors will of course fall now. Ogres could be good here against this army. Nothing really counters them necessarily. Still few units ready here, so I don't think Subak can push there. He has few spitters ready and there is also 2 totems. There is lots of totems here. 3 new arenas, even extra goblin hut just to make sure he can produce there. And yes, Subak preparing another base. He has 2 void walkers ready here. Lots of deformers like this around the map, trying to create the unholy ground everywhere. Upgraded towers as well, and preparing another base, so, and also this one. So yeah, he's basically taking everything he can. But Soulskeeper is also getting this, so it will be basically balanced, just one base that Soulskeeper should have taken. Either the bottom one or the top one will be the Kiban Subak. Or is being taken now. If it will be taken, we will see about that. But still, Soulskeeper, 0 wood. There is 1 villager here, 1 here, long distance gathering. Few here, but also really far away. He should definitely set up a weapon master there. Or even start gathering the wood somewhere else. Some push attempt here, but didn't really work as intended. Even though some skeletons here are also doing some nice damage, but yeah, they are dying pretty quickly to the totems. There is the harm damage, and that's just full. And actually also summon damage. Yeah, you have summon damage on totems, so they just extremely quickly destroy skeletons or any summoned units. Basically double damage of the totem than to anything else, even more than double. That's why they die so quickly. Some small fights happening here. Gold kinda balance, Soulskeeper still way more gems, but still struggling with wood. You don't see any towers yet on the sides here. And insane poison fox. Some anti-magic attempts there, but he was forced away from that location, so once again the dependency of fallen race on the positioning is really showing here. Some nice skeletons there, but they won't really help much. Spitters also dying to the totem there. And yeah, Soulskeeper now quickly catched up on the upgrades, and he has maximum damage upgrades. Subak as well actually, and 1 armor upgrade, so they both started quickly catching up on upgrades. Nice to see that. Lots of towers from Subak. But he definitely doesn't have any chance in this fight. He has to constantly kite away. Also now his base on the north will actually fall, so decent chunk of Soulskeeper's army is actually there. He's also not even on full population anymore, so this is giving Subak some chance. Here on the bottom. But he needs to start casting the anti-magic a little bit faster to deal with the poison force, because it's killing everything. And then now he's getting pushed back. Towers are not finished yet, but they will be in a second. But there is this second push from the top, but yeah, upgraded towers, no trolls. I don't think this will be a problem for Subak. He should easily one-shot all the goblins, yeah. That's a suicide from Soulskeeper. But he has enough resources to reproduce everything, still just the wood problem. Subak also lost lots of wood now, since he made so many towers. But seems to work for him, yeah, this is unpushable without trolls. We'll see if he'll also have time to upgrade this. And also he needs to start saturating that. We can see a stronghold trying to be built there, but it's not gonna work. And looks like Soulskeeper, even though he has trolls, he just goes for it. He doesn't care. Of course the towers are not upgraded. If they would be, it would be much stronger, but like this, it's not that powerful, and also lots of the damage is actually consumed by the Guardian runes here. If Soulskeeper would have Rain of Fire, it would also deal with the towers quite quickly, but yeah, he doesn't have that, he just goes under them. And yeah, he's still splashing them down pretty quickly, together with the army, so it will still work for him, but he definitely lost some extra units there that probably wasn't necessary. But it means that both players are basically on the same amount of bases, while these two in the middle are being contested on both north and south. So we're trying to set up some totems here, but I don't think he'll be able to defend that. And nice push from Suvak on the north, bringing even some Avengers finally as well. But of course Warriors, strong counter against this, we'll see how that goes. Here on the bottom Suvak is trying to stop the towers and he is introducing his Beholders. I lately saw lots of games from Suvak playing as Fallen where he started introducing or including Beholders into his army composition. So glad to see someone finally experimenting with this unit, but it actually seems pretty powerful against Beast. Of course against Empire you will just get immediately one-shotted by Phoenixes with Novas. But here you actually need to get the Manticores there and also RPs to confuse the Stalkers, and it can become quite overwhelming if you also need to of course fight on the ground somehow, yeah, so I think definitely Beholders have their role. We got frozen by the abduction of a freeze, but they definitely have their role in the Fallen against Beast matchup. But anyways, this base fell. At the same time this base fell, so Suvak is still one base ahead even though he has way less resources, but Soulskeeper is only 140 population, and now we can see the major problem that I was talking about since like 10 minutes ago. We would have already seen it there, and now it's really coming into play. Yeah? He has no wood and he has no population because all of his Borons died, because he ran with them into towers and overall just didn't take enough of a care about them. But yeah, there is also lots of AFK minions. This base got destroyed. This is not even saturated. He should definitely fill that up. That's a mistake as well. And he can't really now continue pushing into the enemy bases. He needs to try to rebuild this, saturate this, and finally get some wood somewhere. He could be easily gathering here, which is not too far away from his main building. This base is also kind of fine. He already made lots of stables, so that's good. It's just that he's still not producing in all of them, and he doesn't have the wood to actually produce that anyways. But seems like he's trying to establish this base, which would definitely help him a lot. The problem is that he doesn't have this one, which is the equivalent to this, which is of course really valuable. That's even some extra gems. But he really doesn't need more resources, to be honest, now. He just needs to get the wood there, reproduce his Borons, and produce an army. Until then, he can't do much. Some totems here won't be a big match for the Avengers. Also, Fallen is already nicely leveled up because he was fighting a lot. And here we see the Beholders. Level 4. 1 damage upgrade. Spitters are 3 and 2, Goblins are 3 and 1. Also potion resistance is actually kinda strong against Fallen, because Fallens have lots of magical damage, and that of course can help you quite a lot, so something he could be also utilizing to be even tankier. So the bases are mirrored, just this one is missing on the side of Soulskeeper. He's on 150 population, finally got the population uncapped a little bit, so he can produce units again. Because he made Borons. He has Mouth of Hell here, but he definitely doesn't have Rain of Fire researched. And I don't really think he has anything researched there. Either forgot about it or decided to not use it anymore since he doesn't have that much of an income anymore. And here we see the two armies of Suvak coming together in front of the enemy main base and quickly taking down the infrastructure. Soulskeeper moving there with his Warlocks and Goblin Riders, while the Goblin Hunters are staying down here, protecting the base. Guardian Rune, okay. He's actually using anti-magic to dispel it. But the other one wasn't in the radius. Yeah, he's giving time to Soulskeeper to reproduce his army, but he's not really utilizing it anyways, so doesn't really matter now, he's also losing the barons again that he so hardly reproduced. Also trying to get his infrastructure back. I don't think we see any new upgrades. Also, you need lots of trolls in the beast army, which are completely missing here. Goblins are really good in early and mid game, but in late you just have to transfer to mass trolls rather than goblins. And maybe combine it with ogres and berserkers if you need some melee, or just add more warlocks there. And then of course utility units like RPs, or if you need manticores against this. Or even demons, of course, another option. You can of course still keep the barons there, I mean barons definitely, but you can keep goblins on top of them. Or just use the barons as healing when you have enough witches. But going full on goblins simply won't really work in the late game. So Suvak got kinda locked here, but Soulskeeper is going through his own poison fox, so damaging his whole army heavily. Also there's another push with 2 beholders actually from Suvak, just focusing down the stronghold. And yeah, here we see the main fight. Suvak way bigger army. Proving effective enough. But yeah, really nice to see the beholders there, part of the army. I might need to start using that myself a little bit more as well. Lots of production buildings from Suvak. He can easily reproduce his army in like 1 minute or 2 when he loses everything, so really strong. At the same time, he has so many bases and harvesters that he doesn't have that much free population. He has prepared summoners here for Void Walkers, so many production buildings, decent army, probably also lots of upgrades by now. Yeah, but he just doesn't really have the population because of so many harvesters. Well, looks like the Stalkers will kinda die. There probably also won't be many more freezes, so it will be a straight up fight, I think. But yeah, Soulskeeper is not using most of his army, so it's just kinda dying one by one. Finally introducing ogres, okay, that could help. Stingers are not really part of the endgame army of Fallen anyways anymore, because you just don't have that population for it and they just die too quickly to the goblins and everything, so then you can try to use ogres. They of course still will die if they are focused fire down, but they have lots of HP, and if they get somewhere the damage is insane. So as you can see, the Fallen army will probably still fall here. What is this? Aerial rush? Not sure if we wanted to put something into them or what are they for, but they are also taking up lots of population, so might not be the best idea to make so many aerials. Maybe it was a misclick and he wanted to produce mass beholders and just by mistake produce aerials, because looks like he's just sending them into the enemy base to sacrifice them. It can make sense to make 1 aerial to scout enemy invisible units, because it has detect invisible units buff. And you can also research invisibility for the unit, so it's even stronger, but overall I don't think you really want to make aerials unless you need to transport somewhere. And you don't see like arc drops as Fallen too often with aerials. As Beast you do it with gaseous form, as Empire that's the most typical you do it with arcs. And Fallen usually just does stinger drops with metamorphosis, but like seeing a Fallen make an aerial and then put like Avengers and Spitters into it to drop on enemy villagers, you don't really see that. Another option is of course to create a dimensional portal, but that's even harder to set up, so also not too often seen. Some leveled up goblins here, but once again he doesn't have any trolls to deal with these towers. So if he goes there, it will just all die. Looks like Soulskeeper goes heavily on the ogres now. Which wouldn't be bad if Suvak continued with Avengers, but since he's going for mass beholders, ground melee ogres won't really help with that. And also so many Void Walkers with this. But that's all the population Subak has. Yeah, Soulskeeper tried some push here, but when he saw the towers he quickly changed his mind. Also his whole main base and also the natural expansion got pretty much destroyed where he had all of his infrastructure obviously. Same as if all of this would die, yeah. So he had to spend lots of resources to rebuild everything, it took him lots of time. And now he's just too far behind. He actually goes into the towers, he will maybe probably kill them, because there is just so much HP in the beast army that it will probably just tank the damage, but of course it's extremely inefficient, yeah. If he would have one troll he could easily destroy all the towers without losing a single HP. But yeah, of course, eventually he will just walk through it. But at the same time, Subak is also going here. Soulskeeper could easily poison and fuck all of these Void Walkers, which he actually did. It's almost like if you would be listening to my commentary here. It wasn't enough to kill them, but he still did some nice damage. But there's so much infrastructure from Subak, literally buildings everywhere, he doesn't really care which base he loses. He everywhere has towers and infrastructure. He doesn't have that many gems, because the builders are extremely expensive of course. Even though we reduced the price, I think it was 330 and 200 gems, 330 gold. And we reduced it to 300 gold and 180 gems I think. Plus they also received a buff for the upgrade from Oculus that increases their movement speed. It was like 20% movement speed, now it's 30, something like that. Or it was buffed by 30%, I don't know. But definitely few upgrades for beholders, so they are not too bad now. Definitely in the beast matchup usable. But extremely expensive, so you need to have the mecha advantage first before you can get them. But then it's kinda nice. So eventually Soulskeeper calls it GG, leaves and Subak is victorious, so let's check the results. It was actually 50 minutes, one of the longer games. Still really well played by Soulskeeper, he did a really nice macro there. Haven't seen that from him too much, and he actually got more experience than Subak while producing like double units. But Subak has had way better micromanagement, so he traded way more efficiently, and even though he had a little bit more resources, he still produced way less units, so it will be all in towers. Yeah, he built like two times more buildings than Soulskeeper, and Soulskeeper had to rebuild his whole base, basically. Also the researches, yeah, 10 researches in endgame is extremely bad. 36 is maybe a little bit of an overkill, but he was combining all types of units, so I think it's definitely justifiable. 53 buildings destroyed, 27 lost. So yeah, nice game, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you next one, so take care guys.